Hello everyone. So today we will talk about what are the most important things that we need to know about Android. Okay, this is our third slide on the Android development. So important things in Android Studio project. What are the important things that we need to know? Number one is a manifest file. Sorry, with the click it's just going ahead. So with the manifest file, and number two is the project main folder and the resource folder, and then we have Gradle is for the build, and Android virtual device. So these are the 4 or 5 things that we really need to know before we really start working with Android projects. A brief I can tell you about this here, about these things here. For example, manifest file is a file which is an XML based file, and you use this file to actually kind of define your activities or your main project, your application name and certain permissions that your app is going to use, for example, reading the phone context, reading or writing to external memory, or for example using internet, and such kind of permissions also we're going to define in the manifest, defining broadcasts, activities, processes, and some other settings. So this is what manifest is about, main file for storing the settings of our project, and it is located in the root folder. Then we have a project main folder where we have our Java classes or activities or fragments defined, and the main logic uh, behind our screens is implemented in this project under this project main folder under the Java files. And then we have resource folder. Resource folder has, for example, the layout of our screens which our Java files are going to load, for example, for activities or fragments. And we'll define activities and fragments when we go later. For now, you just need to understand a little bit what these things are actually doing. Resource file also contains the images or PNGs or JPGs for our screens. It also contains, for example, when we want to define strings or color variables to be used, for example, more often we can define them in a folder here. It also defines our theme, the app theme, for example. The app theme is selected or for this app from uh, for example, declared in this manifest file, which is, for example, the one that is defined here is going to be used in the manifest file. That's what I mean. So for example, how the toolbar is going to look, how your main screen is going to look, for example, how your background for each screen is going to look, for example, all those things that you need to reuse, are also defined in the theme. And action bar, for example, your action bar is also defined here. The main images, for example, are defined here for toolbar, and action bar in the resource folder is also defined. And then we have a Gradle is actually a build tool. It's just like you have, for example, makefile for C++ or something. You have Linux. Under Linux you have a makefile to, for example, tell the projects how to build, for example, what kind of libraries to link, and all those things. In the same way you have Ant, or for example, Maven for Apache, and for example you have a .NET framework for Visual Studio. So this is just something like that. It's just going to define our build rules, and define which libraries to link and what minimum or maximum uh, API level to use, and things like this. Now, Android virtual device is also a very important thing. Android virtual device stands for AVD stands for Android virtual device.